Hello and welcome to today's review video. We're going to be looking at offensive miniatures, specifically their elite catalogue of miniatures. So if we go to that catalogue, we can see there is a whole range of different 28mm miniatures for us to look at. So they kindly sent me some fantastic samples, so a huge thank you goes out to that team, and we're going to take a closer look at them in just a minute. So as I said, they did send me quite a few samples. So we've got a sample of pretty much at least half of the ranges that they have in stock. So let's really dive into this a little bit better. So first up, we're going to look at the Winter Germans. Now I'm going to say this straight off the bat, these are my favorite miniatures that they sent me in the sample. So these are my absolute favorites. They are fantastic. These are such a rare sort of themed force. They're not just in winter clothing, they're actually in snow gear as well to tackle those snowy hills and whatever else that they might have been tackling. So you can see you've got those like snow boots as well as these sort of, I don't know what the word would be, but to help them get across the snow nicely. They're also full of gear. They look very, very cold, which is fantastic. They've got a variety of different packs in that catalogue for these Winter Germans, which is awesome. They also have some special figures that you can acquire if you purchase like box sets. Now I'm not exactly sure what this is. I think it's just some residue from the obviously the sculpting or the mold that is created from however the process is made. I'm definitely no manufacturer, so I have no idea how these are made. I'm just assuming that's some sort of leftover residue. It's a little bit built up in between the legs there, but you're not going to see it anyway, so it really does not matter. The metal itself is quite tough, so even though that MG42 looks a little bit thinner than you'd expect, I think that's probably a bit more realistic. It's not so chunky. Having fired one myself, it looks probably proportionally correct. So yeah, it looks good. The metal is bendable, but it's not super bendy where you're just going to break it straight away, which is really nice. Then we've got another guy here who's got a grey coat on. He's got none of those like wintry aids or snow aids for getting across the snow. So he would be fantastic for any sort of winter force that you're going for, late war or mid-war, because he's just got a great coat on and just a few other bits of equipment. Then we got another guy here. Now this guy is going through the snow and you can see it just looks fantastic. The sculpts are really nice. Everything looks natural. The poses are really well done. The details, or there's plenty of detail in the hat with the insignia. The facial expressions is what I'm looking at now. You can see that the facial expressions do vary between models, and there's plenty of detail in those faces as well, which makes for some fantastic painting. Now we have a guy actually walking through the snow in his snow boots, and he's also got some poles to sort of help him get through those thick layers of snow. So it looks really, really nice. It looks very natural. We'll have a look at the poles in just a second. But he's got his rifle slung around his chest. He's got his backpack, as well as some other bits of equipment, and he's wearing that warmer hat than that steel helmet would have been. And then there we go, we've got the poles there. So plenty of details in those, so they're going to paint up a treat. So let's take a look at the US Airborne, because these look fantastic, and I know I've seen these around for a long time. I believe these are probably some of their first releases for their World War II elite range. These are some of the earlier releases, I believe, because I remember seeing these years and years ago before I got into YouTubing or even painting 28mm miniatures, and I was obsessed with them at the time. Now, compared to the Winter Germans that we just saw before, you can see they're just slightly different. Some of the details are not as pronounced. That's not saying that they're not good, they're just not as good. And I believe that's because the Winter Germans are one of their latest releases. You can see that it's just evolved over the years. That's not saying this range isn't good. As I've said, it's a fantastic set, and I love the US Airborne that they've got. I still really do love them from when I looked at them years and years ago. That guy had an M1 carbine folded, which is a really nice touch, being obviously the Airborne M1 carbine. You can see that this M1 Garand doesn't have as much detail as the Kar 98 had, for example, that we saw before, but there's plenty of detail on the model itself. There's insignia for the patches as well, so you can make him Obviously a Screaming Eagle if you wanted to, or I believe you could probably get away with painting him as the 82nd Airborne or whatever airborne division you're sort of wanting to replicate. So yeah, really nice variety of poses as well. These are obviously taken from different packs that they've got on their elite catalog for these guys. But again, the poses look very natural. The actual proportions to weapon size and arm size, leg size, all looks really good. You see the straps here just a little bit smaller than I would expect. I think those should be a little bit wider as well. But again, you know, it's something that would paint up really nicely regardless. Yeah, really nice figures, to be completely honest. Just a few little minor notes there. Then we got a guy sort of getting ready to bring his M1 Thompson, ready to take on some Germans. We can see that we've got the insignia patches on Highline there, but we've already seen that already. You can see that he's got his ammo pouches as well as a water bottle, if I can keep hold of him. And then this guy I love. He's one of the freebies that you get if you buy the deal pack. And I don't know why, he's just got a Sobel's feel to him from Band of Brothers. Now, a lot of people don't know this, but Sobel actually jumped into Normandy on D-Day and is actually credited for taking out an MG42 nest and was awarded the Bronze Star. So I think I'm going to paint this guy up as Sobel at some point. Well, I mean, just any officer, but I'm going to feel like he's a Sobel sort of character just because he's in like a bomber jacket. I'm not sure what the correct term would be, but he's not in his traditional M42 uniform where he might have it on underneath. Then we got another guy with some looted watches, I believe, which is a really nice touch. The US Paras were definitely all about the looting from what I've heard from interviews with veterans. I can see that the M1 carbine that's folded is just stuck to the helmet, so you have to get a knife in there and just separate the two just to make it so it's not bent too much. And then we've got the final guy who's also got an M1 carbine that's obviously landed, and he's just assembling his gear, so he's taking his helmet off just for a brief second and making sure everything is situated nicely with all of the various bags that would have dropped when they were attached to him. So yeah, really nice. You can see I'm just highlighting some of the webbing there. But yeah, overall really, really nice. So they did also send me some Russians. Now this sample pack that the Russians, this sample pack that Offensive Miniatures sent of the Russians is a little bit smaller, but that's fine. We don't need a huge sample, so just want to have a quick look at what we can get. So this guy's obviously got a PPSH. You can see that the webbing and the bag straps are a little bit thicker on this guy. So you can see there's a bit of evolution there. I'm not sure if these were released after the US Paras or not, so I could be getting my facts wrong there. But they certainly look like it could be the case. Plenty of detail there, a bit of cleanup involved, but that's just absolutely normal with any metal figures, regardless of size or company. You're always going to have to clean up some extra of the metal lines that normally come with them. Then we've got another guy that's obviously moving with some sort of bag. He's got a helmet on. Helmet looks like it's around about the right size as what I'd expect to see, the typical sort of Russian helmet as well. You can see that rifle's really bent at almost a 90-degree angle, but the metal is good enough that you can bend it back into shape without worrying about breaking it. And that's a note with the M1 carbine on the previous US Airborne that we looked at. It's a little bit thicker, so you're not going to have that issue of breaking the barrel. So this guy is lying down. He's firing an anti-tank rifle, which is just off screen. There we go. I'm just going to pick it up now. His pose looks natural, and he also comes with a mound that he's lying on top of, and then obviously you'd mount the rifle onto something. So I'm not sure if it's meant to come with a bipod or not. There was nothing in the bag, or you meant to just like rest it on a log or something. But regardless, it looks great. Unless there's something I've missed, perhaps I've missed something, I just really don't know. And then we've got a guy, obviously, with some binoculars. He's probably assisting the anti-tank rifle, and he's just, looks the part. It's got all the equipment, so yeah, really nice. And then they sent us some of the Waffen SS. So within this Waffen SS set, it contains a variety of different miniatures doing different things, so anti-tank and just your generic infantry with different uniforms and stuff on, or different bits of equipment, I should say, and ponchos and stuff. So they've got the SS feel to them, which is what you would expect. Look really nice. Again, these are very, very nice. These are almost exactly like the Winter Germans that we looked at before. I'm just bending that barrel back into shape. And yeah, the detail is fantastic on these. I've got no criticisms with these at all. The straps look like they're proportioned correctly. The rifle looks really good. The camo is nice. All the sort of folds and creases look very natural indeed. They've got tons of equipment, so they've got the gas mask canister on the back there, their rifle pouches and the like. And then we got another guy getting his grenade ready to throw it. Some poor chap. You can see that looks really nice. Very little cleanup involved as well. Those legs don't really have too much of those mold lines that we need to get rid of. This guy has his arm loose, so you can glue it in a variety of different positions by the looks of things, which is a nice touch. Just means that you can get two of the same sculpt, and then you can have two slightly different figures on the table. So that certainly helps if you like a bit of variety like I do. Yeah, overall really nice with that guy. Then we've got a guy with an MP40. The MP40 has quite a lot of detail on it, which is great to see. He must be an NCO of some kind. He's got some insignia on his uniform as well. You can see those straps, those webbing straps are a lot wider, which is great. Also a bonus is the rifles have straps. A lot of sculptors will not put straps on weapons just because it's a little bit more tricky, and I'm assuming, at least anyway, but these all have straps on. You can see this is an MG42 assistant gunner, so he's got plenty of ammunition to go with the MG42. And then we've got this guy. I think he looks absolute badass. He's got his Panzerschreck, he's got MP40 slung around his back with pouches. So yeah, really badass. I can't wait to paint this guy up. They also sent two samples from the Sven Hassel character set that they had. So the first is Joseph Porter, and he's wearing his top hat with MP40. He's got plenty of equipment on his back there, as you can see. He's a lot taller than the ones that we've already seen as well. By a lot, he's only a few millimeters taller, but he feels taller. Plenty of detail in the face too, which is really nice. And then we have Old Man, who's just your sort of generic German grenadier with firing his Kar98. Again, plenty of equipment on the back there. He's got the chicken wire on the helmet, which is an awesome touch. I do like that. Yeah, overall, two really beautiful figures sculpted amazingly. So top work to the Offensive sculptor. Offensive Miniatures also has a size comparison part of their website. So if you're interested to see the different size comparisons out there for all the different companies, you can go and check that out. From what I've seen, they look like they're pretty compatible with pretty much most of the 28mm metal companies out there, which is fantastic. So overall, I am very, very happy. I've painted up a sample figure from the winter set as an SS trooper, but I'll probably paint the rest just in winter gear. This was just a little bit of a fun project to get the thumbnail picture going. But yeah, really, really happy with the Offensive Miniatures models. I think they are superb. They're a really great 28mm metal manufacturing company with a whole range of different miniatures for us to choose from, which is fantastic. So a huge thank you goes out to them, as well as my Patrons and YouTube channel members for keeping the channel going and for helping to support videos like this. It really does mean a lot. Thanks again to Offensive Miniatures. I know I've said it a few times, but really it does mean a lot that you've sent such great samples, and I can't wait to get some tutorials out there. Other than that, guys, I'm going to leave it here, and I will catch you at the next one.